Good evening and welcome to Sunset News on this Monday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather, and sports. I am Glenora Shipura. Getting into the news tonight, the Katutura Health Center, which serves over 162,000 people, according to official statistics by the Health Ministry, is receiving critical support through a new partnership between the ministry and the private sector. In an announcement made today, Health Minister Esperance Luvindao said starting this Tuesday, 11 private doctors will begin rendering evening services free of charge in a move aimed at relieving pressure on one of Namibia's busiest health facilities. Reports revealed that each day between 700 and 1,000 patients are seen, totaling nearly 20,000 visits a month. The center also provides essential services such as antenatal care and family planning, attending to thousands of women and children in the surrounding communities. Despite efforts in recent years to ease congestion by extending service hours at neighboring clinics, patient numbers at Katutura remain persistently high. Commerce region, home to just under 500,000 people, has only one health district with limited infrastructure. Katutura is a primary healthcare facility offering 24-hour service, making it a critical lifeline for residents across Windhoek's informal settlements and surrounding constituencies. As part of immediate relief efforts, the ministry is increasing the number of doctors assigned to night shift duty at Katutura Health Center. Currently, only 3 doctors cover the evening shift, but this will be increased to 5 to address the long waiting times, particularly during the critical evening hours when demand peaks. The ministry is also extending service hours at Okuriangava Health Center and Oshomwise Clinic. Beginning Tuesday, both will operate from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. The ministry has further committed to upgrading Okuriangava Health Center to a full 24-hour service from the 1st of August 2025. Moving on to our next story, the government's civil servant pension-backed home loan scheme signals a major breakthrough for younger employees, while it is much riskier for older staff nearing retirement. Economists have warned. This scheme presents a potentially sustainable and financially sound mechanism for enhancing housing access, economist Helena Mboti told NMH. For younger individuals, this facilitates earlier wealth accumulation and strengthens their balance sheet position. However, Mboti cautioned that the scheme poses serious risk for older civil servants whose depleted pension savings could leave them financially exposed after retirement. While the government has positioned the scheme as a tool to expand access to housing and stimulate economic activity, experts say its success will depend on how it is implemented and who adopts it. Mboti praised the initiative's potential to address credit market imperfections that often prevent low and middle income earners from accessing the formal housing sector. Still, she warned that pension-backed borrowing carries inherent trade-offs. If a substantial portion of an individual's pension capital is encumbered or depleted to serve as a home loan, it directly compromises their post-retirement consumption capacity, Mboti explained. This could lead to increased elderly poverty in the long run or create additional pressure on the country's limited social safety nets, she added. But he also raised concerns about the scheme's potential to distort the housing market if not managed carefully. With increased demand, we might see upward pressure on housing prices, especially in areas with limited supply or high lender servicing costs, she added. But he also stressed that while the scheme's interest rate is relatively favorable, access alone does not guarantee sustainability. She called for robust affordability assessments, financial education, and age-based borrowing guidelines to protect individuals from over-indebtedness. In our next story, the Namibia Tourism Board confirmed that it has verified expenditure related to its board activities, which totaled approximately $2.6 million from the 1st of April last year to date. NTB spokesperson Flora Quest said this figure is contrary to allegations that board members pocketed $2 million in 5 months. Recent media reports claim that several NTB board members pocketed a combined $2 million in travel allowances over a 5-month period, with some directors allegedly taking in between $300,000 and $600,000 this year. Quest said that the $2.65 million verified expenditure covered about $737,739 in subsistence and travel allowances, $878,485 or air travel costs, and $661,377 million for board secretarial and administrative services. She said that it also covered meeting venues and refreshments, operational costs, as well as other operational expenses. These costs are tied to the execution of official statutory functions, including governance meetings, compliance obligations, strategic planning, and approved international representation. All expenditures are fully documented, auditable, and in line with NTB's annual budget, Quest insisted. Quest further clarified that the approved travel budget for the NTB board for the 2025-2026 financial year is $2.3 million, not $4 million as has been claimed. This amount includes board fees totaling $700,000 and operational support to service of $1.6 million, covering travel, venues, accommodation, secretariat support, and meeting logistics. In our next story, a Rundu woman was robbed of nearly $25,000 by a man who allegedly posed as a NORAD contractor and pastor, offering to connect her house to the electricity grid, a connection later deemed illegal by the Northern Regional Electricity Distributor. Chieve Mwengere told Namibian Sun over the weekend that her ordeal began in 2023 when she was approached by a man known to her as Pastor John Kudumo, who she claims presented himself as a NORAD accredited contractor. Mwengere said she was convinced after the man allegedly arrived at her home in a NORAD branded vehicle, accompanied by others in uniform with what appeared to be legitimate equipment. Mwengere said although one of the meters was old and looked pre-use, she initially dismissed it after being told that as long as the power is on, it doesn't matter. She added that from late 2023 until March of this year, she and her tenants at the house were able to purchase electricity and use the meters without any problems. That concludes our top stories. On the other side of this, we take a look at our community talk.
Okay, from there the men, next day they came and put the prepaid meters. So they came with 4 prepaid meters. The 4th one was old like the one I'm having in my house. Then I asked him, why are you giving me the old one if I paid the full amount? They said, no, you don't need, no need. It's also, as long as the power is on. I said, don't provoke me, please. I'm sick. Yeah, then they put the 3rd one, the 4th one, Tate Kudumo, the one who gave the account who I paid money, said, I'm waiting for Nkuru. My colleague will come. They came with NORAD. His name is Williams, and I'm still having his number. He came to bring the 4th one. Then they put from there, 203, we started buying electricity with my client normally until 205 on the 21st of March. Is when Tate Nekondo came, Mr. Nekondo from Ongwediva, and another guy. In NORAD, they came that your connection is illegal. Then I said, how come illegal? People came from NORAD and they have the proof. The proof of payment is there. The person who did it is this one. I have his number. You can still call him. They called him. He confirmed. Yeah. From there, they switched off my electricity. Why should you switch off my electricity? Yeah, I did not commit any crime. The person is there. The deal was done. If it was illegal, that is your job in the office. It was done in your office.
Taking flight has never been easier. Paratus is introducing Sky-Fi internet packages with speeds that will have you reaching for your seatbelts, starting from $500 Namibian excluding VAT per month, with speeds reaching up to 10 megabits per second. There's even a prepaid option where you can top up your Sky-Fi internet for just $15 Namibian per gigabyte. No contracts, no fuss. Visit your nearest Paratus branch to find out more. Or go to paratus.africa/Namibia to sign up online.
Always prepared, Paratus.
Getting into our community talk, the Walvis Bay, where the desert meets the Atlantic, tourism is taking on a new face. At its center is Kelly Beekers, the founder of Kelly's Wild Adventures and Tours, who has transformed her love of nature into a mission to promote responsible tourism and coastal conservation. Her journey began with solo hikes along the open coastline, shaped by a quiet appreciation for the surrounding landscape. I discovered my love for hiking a few years ago, Beekers said. These interests grew into a structured nature experience, a 10 to 12 kilometer guided hike along the Pelican Point sandbank, one of Namibia's most biologically rich coastal areas. The tour begins near the old pump house, where visitors are often greeted by Klaus, a local celebrity seal known for lounging and entertaining guests. But this is no ordinary beach walk. Beekers' role extends beyond that of a tour guide. She is also an environmental educator, sharing information on the area's biodiversity and the impact of climate, human behavior, and seasonal patterns. Through a combination of education, conservation, and small-scale enterprise, Beekers has emerged as one of the coast's most vocal advocates for sustainable tourism. On the other side of this, we take a look at our economic news. Do stay tuned. Starting us off in our economic news, Namibia today officially launched its first export consignment under the African Continental Free Trade Area at Walvis Bay. The launch marks Namibia's formal entry into trade under the AFCFTA framework, aimed at deepening economic integration across the African continent. The event was officiated by Minister of International Relations and Trade Selma Ashipala Musavi. This move signals the start of Namibia's participation in a continent-wide effort to lower trade barriers, boost intra-African commerce, and open new market opportunities for Namibian producers and exporters. In a symbolic start to continental trade, the country's first AFCFTA export, 45,000 tons of salt, will be shipped from Walvis Bay to Nigeria. The use of salt, once a cornerstone of Trans-Africa's trade routes, links Namibia's modern ambitions to Africa's long-standing history of regional commerce. Getting into our next story.
That year, and we gave each other 50 years to reach the Agenda 2063. And they say under that agenda, 2018, it is the day the instrument was signed by our leaders. So whenever we celebrate independence, we must also celebrate the birthday of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. And then it was in 2019 that it was then made effective so that we can start trading 2021 for the first 24 countries that signed up, and Namibia was one of the countries that deposited their instrument first. To date, 54 African countries of the 55 have signed the agreement, that is 54, and about 48 have ratified and deposited their instrument. Maybe we should clap for African leaders. Thank you. So, Honorable Minister, today we are celebrating indeed something that under the leadership of our presidents, the leadership of our ministers of trade, the leadership of our ministers of international relations, it's something that is possible. And we are looking forward to having an exciting day and a celebratory day and we are looking forward to many, many more transactions under this agreement.
I jumped the gun there on our earlier story. Moving on to our next economic news. A policy document notes that about 75% of mining revenue comes from protected areas in Namibia. This is according to the revised national policy on prospecting and mining in protected areas, other areas with high value species and environmentally sensitive areas. The draft policy still has to be submitted to the cabinet for approval. The document notes that given the significant potential of both tourism and mining to drive economic growth and reduce poverty, government must ensure that prospecting and mining do not jeopardize long-term sustainable development opportunities in protected areas. The policy aims to ensure that the sectors continue to coexist in a sustainable way to achieve property and sustainability. While several strategies are already in place to manage exploration and mining within protected areas, the document notes that there is a clear need for stronger policy frameworks and tools to guide decision-making and safeguard biodiversity, ecosystem services, and cultural heritage from the impacts of development. There are major overlaps in the location of rare species, critical biodiversity areas, and the presence of minerals in Namibia. It adds, the document warns that landscape alteration, soil and water contamination, and the loss of critical habitats can lead to the loss of important and endemic plant and animal species, which can comprise ecosystems and reduce tourism potential. On these bases, the Mines and Energy Ministry, together with the Environment and Tourism Ministry, developed a policy. It also covers communal conservancies, community forests, state-owned land, game farms, and other freehold areas that support high-value species or are considered environmentally sensitive. That concludes our economic news. We now swing over to the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 24.33, against the euro 20.84, against the US dollar at 17.78 to Namibian dollars and 48 cents gets you one Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, copper went down while gold, platinum, and Brent crude oil went up. Brent crude oil trading at 0.98%, going for $68 and 14 cents per barrel. In our international news, at least 7 people have been killed and many more injured during a recent anti-government protest in Togo's capital, Lome, according to preliminary figures provided by civic groups on Sunday. The protests were over recent constitutional reforms that could cement President Faure Gnassingbe's long hold on power. Videos emerged showing apparent abuses by security forces. Police fired tear gas in several neighborhoods of Lome and reportedly used batons to beat protesters, severely injuring some, according to footage that appears to be from the scene. Internet access across the West African nation has been restricted, with social media platforms functioning intermittently. Civil society groups and social media influencers had called for protests on June 26th, 27th, and 28th after the government's clampdown on protests early this month. Faure Gnassingbe, who has ruled since 2005 following his father's death, was sworn in May as president of the Council of Ministers. The powerful role has no official term limits, and he is eligible to be re-elected by parliament indefinitely. Gnassingbe's former job as national president, a position that is now mostly ceremonial, was given to politician Jean-Lucien Quasi Saive de Tove after the announcement. Opposition politicians have denounced the move as a constitutional coup. Demonstrations are rare in Togo because they have been banned in the country since 2022. Following a deadly attack at Lome's main market. But the latest change in government structure has been widely criticized in a region threatened by rampant coups and other threats to democracy. That- Getting into the sports news, the Region 5 Youth Games Organizing Committee Chairperson, Mr. Stanley Motoya, delivered a powerful invitation to the continent ahead of the games set to start on Friday. Let's have a look.
The 11th edition of the Region 5 Youth Games is here. Namibia is going to be alive from the 4th to the 13th of July 2025. I'm inviting all of you right there at home to please make your way to the stadium and watch and experience an amazing performance that's going to be marking the start of the games. These games are going to be back here 20 years from now. It's an amazing experience that nobody wants to miss, and we all the children, the men and women out there, our fathers, our grandfathers, our aunties, our uncles, let's be here at the Independence Stadium. From 4 o'clock, the gates are open and you are all expected to be seated so that we have an amazing experience of the Region 5 opening ceremony. But of course, that's not all. There's lots of competitions that's going to be happening at the Windhoek Showgrounds, at the Hage Geingob Stadium, at the University of Namibia Stadium. Come and watch. In Swakopmund, for those of you that are in Swakopmund, you are not left alone. There is at Vineta Stadium athletics that will be exploding there and swimming at the Cube. Let's all make our way there and make Namibia proud. This is the land of the brave. Let's make it shine and let it explode. Let the games begin. The games are right here. Hashtag more than games. And we want to see you there. And please tag your friends, invite someone to be there at the opening ceremony and all the games that are running from the 4th to 13th of July. See you there.
We now swing over to Ari Hohad with the rest of the sports news.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with soccer news first. It is the Club World Cup that continues in America. Best clubs in the world are playing in that, and it was the round of 16 games that was completed. A good result for Chelsea. They beat Benfica quite convincingly by 4-1. That's to advance to the quarterfinals, and also a very strong showing by PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. They beat Inter Miami by 4-0. They're also through to the quarterfinals. Then two other results in the round of 16. Bayern Munich too strong for Flamengo by 4-2, and Palmeiras beat Botafogo by 1-0. Quite a few other games that's going to be played still in the round of 16s. It is Inter Milan that will play against Fluminense, and then Manchester City, they play against Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia, and it is Real Madrid, they play against Juventus. So still interesting soccer taking place at the Club World Cup taking place in the United States of America. On to rugby news. The Springboks, they move on to play against Italy this coming weekend. It was a strong showing for them in wet and rainy weather in Cape Town. They beat the Barbarians team by 54 points to 7, and it will be the first of 2 tests against Italy this coming weekend in Pretoria. The British and Irish Lions, they started their tour in Australia with their first game in Perth, and it was a win of 54-7 as well when they beat the Western Force. And the news from the Lions camp, unfortunately, it is Thomas Williams. He's the scrum half. He's from Wales. He's out injured. He's out of the tour with a hamstring injury, replaced by Ben White of Scotland. Then on to golf news. A great performance by South African Aldrich Potgieter. He's just 20 years old, and he won his first tournament on the USPGA. He won the Rocket Classic in the 3-way playoff against Max Greiseman and also against Chris Kirk. So well done to Aldrich Potgieter. He's just 20 years old. And then to close off today's international sports news, tennis news. It is from the Eastbourne Men's Tournament. The winner there, Taylor Fritz. He beat Jensen Brooksley, also of the USA, by 7-5, 6-1. And this week it will be Wimbledon that starts on Monday. So big tennis coming up for the next 2 weeks in London. So that's international sports news for today. I hope you have a great sport day. We talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Don't forget to catch Sunset News tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. on our DSTV channel 285, our GoTV channel 25, and on our website, oneup2.com. From me, Glenora Shipura. Until next time.